We're in session in cause number 328382. The case is styled the State of Texas versus Michael Christopher Bowman. For the record, your name is Michael Christopher Bowman.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Bowman, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Bowman, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may put your hand down. How you doing, Mr. Bowman?
All right.
That's good. Mr. Bowman, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Alan Parker. Mr. Parker, how you doing?
I'm good, sir.
That's good. Mr. Bowman, the information in this case alleges that on or about October 9th of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration of 0.15 or more. Mr. Bowman, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, Your Honor.
And to discharge, okay, as a DWI first.
We're pleading it as a non-enhanced, Judge.
Okay, so state, are you waiving the enhancement paragraph?
That's correct, Judge.
Okay, so Mr. Bowman, let me repeat. You're charged with a driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more, which is a Class A misdemeanor. However, the state has elected to abandon the enhancement paragraph, which means that it would drop this case down to a Class B misdemeanor offense. And the range of punishment for the Class B misdemeanor is confinement in jail for a term of at least 72 hours, but not to exceed 180 days of fine, not to exceed $2,000, or both such fine and confinement. Do you understand the range of punishment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, Mr. Bowman, to the charge of DWI first, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, you pleaded no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges? Okay, Mr. Bowman, let me do this here before I get to that. Mr. Parker, you waiving a record?
We waive record, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Bowman, I show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit Number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
On page 2 of the same document, Mr. Bowman, there are a set of initials on the line that's checked, a box that's checked nolo contingere, which means no contest. Are these your initials on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
On page 3 of the same document, Mr. Bowman, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, Your Honor.
On the next document, Mr. Bowman, which is a trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is this your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, Your Honor.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that? The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I also have before me a document that is titled the Discovery Certification. Mr. Bowman, do you recognize this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is that your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Bowman, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit Number 1?
Yes, Your Honor, and also like to offer State's Exhibit 2, the probable cause affidavit.
Any objections? Okay, no objections. State's Exhibit Number 1 and State's Exhibit Number 2 are admitted. Mr. Parker, you've advised and counseled Mr. Bowman. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial? Mr. Bowman, your attorney, Mr. Parker, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Bowman, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
The agreement is for 90 days, probated over 1 year, a $750 fine, 80 hours community service, DWI education, drug and alcohol assessment, and interlock device.
Okay, Mr. Bowman, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you would not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $750 plus court costs. The total fine and court costs is $1,172. You will also be required to pay a probation fee each month of $60 and a urinalysis fee each month of $15. You will also be required to pay a Jefferson County DWI education class and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay $50. Now, your total monthly installments for this case, that is the amount that you'd have to pay each month, is $185 a month. Will you be able to pay the $185 each month?
Yes, Your Honor.
You will also be required to perform 80 hours of community service, attend a DWI education class, and have a drug and alcohol assessment. You'll be required to install a DWI interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate, and you will be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of your probation. Mr. Bowman, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Bowman, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you entered into with the state. Mr. Bowman, please stand on the X next to your attorney. You're gonna follow the directions of the clerk, and once you finish following those directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Your Honor, I have one other case. It's Miss Donna Abshire. She's in the hallway.
You
We're
can call,
We're-
yeah. Get Miss Abshire.
Miss Abshire. Donna.
What doctor?
It's announcement, doctor.
Oh, she's number one.
And if you could sign that black box in front of you, you won't be able to see it. Mr. Parker? Raise your right hand. Do you swear that you've never before been given deferred adjudication or regular probation for a felony or misdemeanor in this or any other state except for what's listed right here?
Your Honor,
And you further swear nothing else?
Okay,
can.
let me,
Okay.
okay,
So
this,
what you're gonna need to do is follow the directions here on this top page, and those are your papers. You need to go to probation this morning.
What is that?
It's, the directions are
I'll
on
explain
on
to you
that
what
top
from it.
page.
That's it.
this is cause number 3000986. The case is styled as State of Texas versus Donna Fernandez Abshire. Is that your full name, Miss Abshire? How you doing, Miss Abshire? That's good. Miss Abshire, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Alan Parker. Mr. Parker, you have an announcement that you'd like to make?
Yes, we need some more time for discovery, Judge. I think this case can get resolved one way or another, either with a plea or dismissal. We just need some time to get some of this discovery taken care of.
Okay, how much time do you need?
I need about 45 days.
Okay,
Which document?
you're on the announcement docket.
October 8th.
It's fine.
Okay. Okay, you can get your reset. You'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Ms. Abshire, once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go as well and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Judge.
All right.
I was just looking at the response. Thank you.
Candace William Banks. Is Candace William Banks outside? This is cause number 319226. The case is style of State of Texas versus Candace William Banks. Ms. William Banks, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. William Banks, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You have to speak up.
Yes.
Okay, you may put your hand down. How you doing, Ms. William Banks?
Okay.
That's good. Ms. William Banks, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. John Macy. Mr. Macy, how are you doing?
I'm fine, Your Honor. Thanks for asking.
That's good. Now, Mr. Macy, are you waiving the record?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. William Banks, I have a motion to revoke your unadjudicated probation in this case, and it alleges that on August 21st of 2018, in County Court Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, that the evidence was sufficient beyond a reasonable doubt to support a finding of guilt for the charge of possession of marijuana, which is a Class B misdemeanor. However, the court deferred the adjudication of your guilt and placed you on probation for a period of 1 year. On August 5th of 2019, the state filed a motion to revoke your unadjudicated probation. I see in this motion, there are 4 allegations. Is she pleading true to all of the allegations?
She's pleading true to allegation number 1, Judge.
Okay, state abandoning allegations 2, 3, and 4.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. Ms. Banks, allegation number 1 alleged that you failed to report to the Jefferson County Probation Office as ordered by the court for the month of June 2019 and on July 9th. They have 219 on this.
Mine says the same thing, Your Honor. I have no objection to changing that to 2019, which is what I believe they intended. I think that's a typographical error there.
So you're doing a trial amendment to the MTRP?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Either that or Judge.
Which one you want to do?
Plead true to the June 2019 and not the second one, unless you need to separate.
I don't think we need to. I think we can.
Oh, just, okay.
Mark through that.
So just strike that out. So we amended it to strike out July 9, 2019. Okay. Let me read this again. Ms. Banks, Ms. Williams Banks, allegation number 1 alleges that you failed to report to the Jefferson County Probation Office as ordered by the court for the month of June of 2019 as directed in violation of condition 4 of your probation order. Is that true or not true? True? Are you pleading true to allegation number one, as amended, freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading true because it's true?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Banks, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishments. It's page 1 of this document. Do you recognize this document?
Yes,
On page 2 of the same document, Ms. Banks, that's William Banks. There's one box that's checked at the bottom of this document. There's a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked MTRP, true to allegation number 1. Is this your initials?
yes, sir.
On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature at the top above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document, that's titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that? Ms. William Banks, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me state's exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer state's exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection. State's exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Macy, you advised in counsel, Ms. William Banks. Is there any evidence that she's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. William Banks, your attorney, Mr. Macy, has advised in counsel you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Ms. William Banks, I will accept your plea true to allegation 1. I will also find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your pleas and waivers were freely and voluntarily given, and I also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
The agreement is for 6 days, credit for time served, tax and retire court costs.
Okay, Ms. William Banks, the state is offering that you serve 6 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you've already served 6 days in the Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you will not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you'll be given credit for time that you have already served. The court cost in this case is $127, but you will not have to pay $127 because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court costs will be taxed and retired. Ms. Banks, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes,
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer? Okay, Ms. William Banks, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you've entered into with the state. Ms. William Banks, please stand on the X next to your attorney. Follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following those directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Mr. Macy, is this your only case?
I'm sorry, what?
Is this your only case?
No, Your Honor, I have one more.
Okay,
He's on the other, he's not on the MTRP document.
okay.
And the blue square? Okay,
They will see her name.
and this is your.
Nothing to sign. Nothing to sign.
Y'all already signed the tablet.
Cesar Hernandez. Hmm? Oh, the tablet. Oh. We're in session in cause number 329094. The case is styled State of Texas versus Cesar Hernandez Jr. Is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, Mr. Hernandez?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Hernandez, you're represented here by Mr. John Macy. Mr. Macy, do you have an announcement that you would like to make?
Yes,
in
Your
Mr.
Honor.
Hernandez case?
We would ask that you reset this so that I can see if Mr. Hernandez is eligible for pretrial diversion.
Okay, so
So
we're gonna reset this in the second week of October. And the reason why we're doing that is because I think the sign-up date is October, the first week in October. So if he gets in at that period, then we'll be able to, the case will probably be resolved. Okay?
Okay.
So we'll reset it second week in October. Could you give us a date? Reset, it's gonna be reset to October 18th. Mr. Cesar Hernandez, once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, sir.
And Mr. Macy, this will conclude your cases. You'll be free to go as well, and you have a blessed day.
thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am. Is Danny Ariola out there? That's him? Mr. Ariola, you can come forward. Mr. Tyler Blum.
Yes, Your Honor.
We're in session in cause number 329096. The case is styled the State of Texas versus Danny Chavez Ariola. Is that your full name? Okay, how you doing, Mr. Ariola? Doing all right? All right. That's good. Now, Mr. Ariola, your attorney, Mr. Tyler LeBlanc, is appearing via Zoom. Mr. LeBlanc, how are you doing?
Good, Judge. Thanks.
That's good. Mr. LeBlanc, you have an announcement you'd like to make in Mr. Ariola's case?
Yes, Judge. This is the first time we've been in court on this on the announcement. Can we reset it for another announcement, Judge?
Okay. Could you give us a date? Okay. The case is going to be reset to September 17th. Mr. LeBlanc, your reset will be sent to you, and Mr. Ariola, you can get your reset from our court coordinator on the end. Once you get the reset, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. All right. Stand on there. And Mr. LeBlanc, is this your only case?
It is, Judge.
And you have a blessed day.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Our next case is cause number 328644. Case of style of State of Texas versus James Eric Nash. Mr. Nash is represented by Mr. Mel Shalander, who is appearing via Zoom. Mr. Nash is also appearing via Zoom. Mr. Nash, how are you doing?
Good, and yourself?
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. And Mr. Shalander, how are you doing?
I'm making it okay, Judge.
That's good. Mr. Shalander, do you have an announcement?
Yes, sir. We want to set it for trial.
Okay. Do we have bond conditions in this case? This is cause number 328644. Okay. Mr. Nash, give us a reset date for trial. September, okay. Mr. Nash, And Mr. Shalanda, this case is gonna be reset for trial on September 8th. Mr. Shalanda, your reset will be sent to you in the mail. Well, it'll be sent to you. And Mr. Nash, stay in contact with your bondsman and your attorney. This will conclude your case. You'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Your
Okay,
Honor,
you said
Your Honor,
you're-
I already have a trial set that day in another court. Can we do another date?
What's the next date? What's the next week after that? Hold on a minute. Okay, September 13th.
I'm set for in your court. That'd be fine. One of them can go. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we reset it for September 13th for trial. Mr. Nash, this will conclude your case. Stay in contact with your attorney and your bondsman. You're free to go and you have a blessed day. And
All
Mr.
right, you have a good
Shalanda.
day.
All right. Thank you. Now, Mr. Shalanda, is this your only case?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're free to go as well. Your reset will be sent to your office.
All right.
And
Thank you.
You're free to go and you have a blessed
Thank you.
day. Okay, our next case is cause number 329060. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Cristobal Santo Vicente Lucas. Mr. Gilthorpe, does Mr. Vicente Lucas speak English?
No. A little bit.
I figured that the way he responded to my question.
For our announcement today, I don't think we need.
Okay. So this is cause number 329060. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Cristobal Santo Vicente Lucas. Mr. Vicente Lucas, how are you doing?
Good.
You're doing good? That's good. Now, Mr. Lucas, you're represented by Mr. Jared Gilthorpe. Mr. Gilthorpe, how are you doing?
Doing well.
That's good. Mr. Gilthorpe, you have an announcement you'd like to make in Mr. Vicente Lucas' case?
Yes, Judge, we're still waiting on videos on this one. Since there were quite a few videos, so it might take them a little while. Also, I believe he's pretrial diversion eligible. We're sending in a request for that as well.
Okay, let's reset him in October. Okay, the case is gonna be reset October 18th. You can get your reset, Mr. Gilthorpe. And this is this is on the case?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, you'll be free to go.
Thank you.
And Mr. Vicente Lucas, you'll be free to go as well. And both y'all have blessed days.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Dahl, you working on yours?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Mr. Cobb, we have, is that Kiara Gidre? She's on Zoom. Okay, Ms. Gidre? Oh, yeah, Ms. Kiara Gidre? Okay, we'll have to go to the next case. Carrington Scott. Yes,
Excuse me, I think Karen usually, called this morning.
that's her right there.
She's at the doctor's office with her child. So it's probably why she's not responding.
She may have to get.
This is, we're in session of cause number 328496. Case is style of State of Texas versus Carrington Cyrus Scott. Is that your full name? Okay, how you doing, Mr. Scott? I'm doing fine, Mr. Scott. You're represented here by your attorney, Mr. Bruce Cobb. Mr. Cobb, how are you doing?
Doing okay.
That's good. Now, Mr. Cobb, what is your announcement in Mr. Scott's case?
Your Honor, I have really no announcement at this time, other than, there are some things I need to look at with the district attorney, and I don't know for sure if we could settle it today. I may need to ask for 30 days. I don't think I've got all my discovery on one of the charges. I've got discovery on the theft. I didn't plead the theft today, except his other case is hanging. And I got some serious questions about that case. First day today that I seen this, I asked Ashley, send me the discovery. I may have it now, but I didn't get it earlier. And they were going to charge this man with a felony. So intake goes and delays this case. And I went and looked at the probable cause. I know why. And that's probably one where if I had more time, I'd put it on the trial docket.
Okay, so your announcement is you need more time to get the discovery.
Yes, I think 30 days, but I need the video. I want to see whatever video, pictures.
Have you made a request for the video?
Not yet.
Well, that's why you don't have the video.
I didn't even have that because they didn't file it. They were going to file it as a
Yeah, but you
felony.
have
That's
to,
why we had this
I
guy.
think the requirements are you have to make a request for the, am I correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
I will make a request.
Okay, well, until you need to, okay, we're gonna reset this.
But I didn't even have the other stuff until just maybe recently.
Yeah, but I think the way it works, y'all give them access to the discovery portal. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, that's the way I've been looking. I looked at the portal yesterday, so. I didn't-
Okay,
you know,
but I
it
mean,
may
if you-
be there now, but
If
I
you
can't
had,
see it.
okay, well, okay.
It wasn't there. You know why? Because they were going to charge him with a felony, and then they reduced it down to a misdemeanor.
Okay, well,
But
He
I
does
think
have a
that's
felony.
bad.
yeah, he does have a felony, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle.
Yes.
That's set for August the 23rd. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
But I can't plead him. with
Okay,
that.
no. Okay, so we're gonna reset your case. You want to keep this case? Well, give him a trial date. I mean, not a trial date, but an announcement date.
Do we want to keep it with the felony or not?
That's up to
Yeah,
him.
we've got to do the felony, keep it along with the felony.
Okay, so that'll be August 23rd.
Okay, it's gonna be reset to August the 23rd, both cases.
I don't know. I got this in West Court.
I understand.
So
So what you do is when you come to court that day, that morning, you're gonna have a seat out in the hallway. The bailiff is gonna call names. You tell him you're here, or you can let him know that you're here, and you have to be down in Judge West Court. He's gonna check you in, gonna allow you to go to Judge West, and when you finish in Judge West, you're gonna come back here.
okay, so y'all court appointed me here for my lawyer for that felony.
No, I can't appoint him on a felony case because I'm not the judge in that court.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, so he's appointed on this case, the misdemeanor cases. All right, stand over there on the X.
We'll do that.
Your case is gonna be reset to August the 23rd. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Okay, you too.
Mr. Clark. Can you put this on for me?
Give me a call. I need to talk to you.
I need to know. I tried to tell you that last week. You got a call?
No, I don't have it on me.
He gonna call.
I may be getting
We're on the record in cause number 327552. The case is style of State of Texas versus Kiara Guidry. Ms. Guidry, you could take your mic off of mute. Ms. Guidry, you can take your microphone off of mute.
Probably looking at her kid.
Wow.
Let me try to get her attention.
Ms. Guidry, you can take your microphone off of mute. The volume. I think she was on earlier. Okay. You can, well, she's on, that's probably her telephone.
Well, she ain't calling me.
No, I'm just saying you can't call her while she's on Zoom, I don't think. Once you get on this side, she could see you in the mic, in the camera.
Sure.
The camera is right here. No, stay right there so she can see your face. She'll see your back. She's not up there. I can't even see her face right now.
Probably looking on.
She's doing something now. Oh, well, let's do this.
I was just gonna ask.
Okay, well, that's Miss Guidry. That's Miss Guidry on the on Zoom. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is Miss Guidry.
Okay. All right. Now, Miss Guidry, okay, this is cause number 327552. Miss Guidry, how are you doing?
Fine, and you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Cobb, you have an announcement you'd like to make in Miss Guidry's case?
Yes, Your Honor. We're gonna plead her case, but I'm gonna need 30 days.
30 days, okay,
Well,
give us.
She may have to be checked out.
Okay. Okay, but if we 30 days will be fine. Let's give us an August date.
August 8th?
No. I asked her for August date. Hold on, I'll give it to you. Okay, your case is gonna be reset to August 23rd, 2021. Guidry, stay in contact with your attorney and also take care of your medical situation. Now, Ms. Guidry, you're free to go and you have a blessed day.
I want to ask a question.
You want to ask a question to your lawyer?
My attorney.
Yeah. Okay. What you can do is, you have his phone number?
Okay, you said August 28th. That's me, I reset it.
August 23rd.
23rd, okay.
Right, it's been reset to August 23rd. Stay in contact with your attorney. This will conclude your case and you're free to go. You and your child have a blessed day.
Okay, you too.
All right.
Daddy gave me to get myself ready. He just pleaded 30 days in jail. He just said it. Where you gonna go something?
Okay. Okay, reset. Reset for a plea. Okay, let's see what we got. Sign. Gadget is not there. Okay, yeah. let's see, it did, so Mitchell and Sanders showed up?
No, Mitchell and the one on the second page, Zetar, Zeter.
She's here, Your Honor.
Both of those.
Zeter?
Sanders hasn't answered.
Zeter?
Zetar.
Zeter, I don't have you as the attorney on that.
I'm supposed to be.
They say to hire Bruce Cobb. That's what I have.
That's what the lady said she had hired him. Or, anyway.
Can't pay me yet, but hey, I'll tell you what.
Well, she's pro se. She can come on in. I mean, she's pro se at this point. There's no letter of representation.
Your Honor, can you give me 30 days though?
Well, it's not your case, it's her case. You haven't been hired.
Your Honor, I'll send you the letter immediately after that.
We're in session in cause number 323-254 and cause number 323-734. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus, is that Denicia? Denicia Deshawn Zetar?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Ms. Zetar?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Ms. Zetar, you are, well, first of all, the last note that we had on June 18, 2021, you stated that you was going to be hiring an attorney. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Have you hired the attorney yet?
Yes, sir.
You hired the attorney?
Yes, sir.
Well,
Oh, who's the attorney?
okay, I'm going to be your attorney, Your Honor.
I mean, I'm just trying to see if she hired another attorney.
Oh, no, sir. Just saying.
So you're saying that, have you hired him or are you going to hire
I'm
him?
going to hire.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna, would 30 days be enough time for you to hire him?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're gonna give us a reset date. Okay, it's gonna be reset to September 3rd to give you time to hire your attorney. Ms. Zetor, you can stand on the 4X. And once you get your reset, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Ornesia Mitchell. MTRP.
Okay. This is cause number 312274. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Arnesia Raquel Mitchell. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm doing fine. How you doing? Okay. Your case was just, I thought this case was reset for a plea.
Yeah, she's gonna plead.
Okay, have you did the paperwork?
No, I have not.
Okay, well, what we're gonna do is just put it on hold and give y'all time to do the paperwork.
If you don't finish
All
the
right.
paperwork, I'm gonna do it. You wanna ask me?
All right, y'all just have a seat. Let's see, we got, Mr. Paget is not here. Mr. Sodman, your attorney, Mr. James Paget, is not here yet, so we are awaiting his arrival.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand.
Okay, so you could just be patient with us and put your mic on mute.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I just been informed, Mr. Simon, that your attorney is going to be getting on Zoom a little later. Okay, so just be patient with us.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. We're in session at cause number 324-186. Case is style of State of Texas versus Ashan Buck.
How you doing, sir?
All right. Okay. Your full name is Ashan Brewer Buck.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Buck, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Buck, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Buck, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Buck?
I'm blessed, sir.
That's good. Now, Mr. Buck, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Peter Dahl. Mr. Dahl, how are you doing?
Pretty fair, too.
That's good. Mr. Buck, the information in this case alleges that on or about August 14 of 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to Class B misdemeanor offense of criminal trespass. Mr. Buck, you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Buck, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Buck, I have before me a document that is titled the Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, Mr. Buck, no, excuse me, on page 2 of this document, Mr. Buck, there is a set of initials on the line that's next to a box checked no contingent, which means no contest. The initials are ABB. Are these your initials?
Yes, sir.
Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, Mr. Buck, there's a signature above the top line that says defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document, Mr. Buck, there is a, the next document is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Mr. Buck, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant? There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Buck, I also have a document here. This document is titled the Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature above the line that's titled
Yes, sir.
Defendant? And Mr. Buck, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney, Mr. Dahl, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct
Yes,
to the
sir.
best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
The state I have before me, State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit Number 1?
Yes, Your Honor, and also like to offer states 2, the probable cause affidavit.
Any objections?
No objection to either.
No objection. State's Exhibits Number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Dahl, you've advised and counseled Mr. Buck. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None, Judge.
Mr. Buck, your attorney, Mr. Dahl, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Buck, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. Will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given, and I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargaining agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
The agreement is for 12 days jail, credit for time served, tax and retire court costs.
Mr. Buck, the state is offering that you serve 12 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail because you've already spent 12 days in Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for time served. The court cost in this case, Mr. Buck, is $397, but you will not have to pay that either because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court cost is going to be taxed and retired. Mr. Buck, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Thank you, sir. It's fair to me.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Buck, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Buck, please stand on the X next to your attorney. And you're gonna follow the directions of our clerk. And once you finish following those directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
You too, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, you'll put your right thumb in the blue square.
On Lakeisha's case, Judge.
Hold on a minute.
All right.
Okay, place it down, don't press it too hard. That's your copy right there. Yes, sir.
Latasha Mater. This is cause number 329148. Case of style of state of Texas versus Latasha Mater. Is that your full name?
Yeah.
How you doing, Ms. Mater?
I'm doing okay.
That's good. Ms. Mater, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Doyle. Mr. Doyle, you have an announcement you'd like to make in Ms. Mater's case?
We would like to ask for additional time, maybe another 30 days.
Okay.
She has asked me some questions this morning that I need to answer, but I can't answer them right now.
Okay, could you give us a 30-day reset? Okay, case is reset to September 17, 2021. Once you get your reset, Ms. Mater, from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Dahl, once you get your reset, is this your last case?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you'll be free to go as well and you have a blessed day.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think it was on the
You'll need to sign it. No. I'll be calling you and stuff. Okay. You kind of told me.
Okay, we have Wilkerson, Roy. Oh, Roy's here. Let's see, he has Tomanika Williams. This is cause number 325406. The case is style of state of Texas versus Tomanika Ranchelle Williams. Is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Ms. Williams?
I had better days.
Okay. We hope that you have better days. Now, Ms. Williams, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. William Wilkerson. Mr. Wilkerson, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, Judge.
That's good. Mr. Wilkerson, you have an announcement you'd like to make in Ms. Williams' case?
Well, Your Honor, Ms. Williams had an appointment a little bit earlier this month to come in. However, she contracted COVID and was unable to do so. She contacted my office yesterday wanting to come view the video, but I had 3 hearings and an MRI and was unable to accommodate her. So we're going to ask for a brief reset in this case, just a regular 30-day.
Okay, could you give us a 30-day reset? September 17th. Okay, it's going to be reset to September 17th. Ms. Williams, once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go. And we'll be praying that you have, that you recover health-wise.
Thank you.
All right. You can stand over there and get your reset.
You can sign this.
Okay. This is cause number 325464. Case of style of state of Texas versus Felicia Roy. Okay, we have Felicia Roy, who is deaf. She has a deaf interpreter, and the deaf interpreter name is Barbara Johnson. Is that correct? Okay. How are you doing, Ms. Roy?
Fine.
Okay. And how are you doing, Ms. Johnson?
Good.
Okay. And Mr. William Wilkerson, you have an announcement you'd like to make in Ms. Roy's case?
Your Honor, there's an offer from the state that Ms. Roy in general is going to accept. However, there's an issue regarding the restitution. Mr. Boyd was looking into it. However, he didn't leave clear notes regarding the status of that. And so unfortunately, we also have to request a reset.
I understand. And that's Mr. Daniel Boyd's case.
Correct.
That's correct. Okay. So did you give us a reset?
September 17th.
Okay, to be reset on September 17th. Ms. Roy, you can get your reset from your attorney. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Okay.
All right. And you have a blessed day as well, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you.
And Mr. Wilkerson, you have a blessed day as well.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, stand over and get your reset. Good.
I did not, couldn't locate Mr. Chapman out there.
Yeah, he's out there. Well, they had him checked in. Mr. Cannon, you come on up. This is cause number 326-646. Case is styled the state of Texas versus Travis Cannon. Mr. Cannon, how are you doing?
Good.
That's good. Mr. Cannon, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Joel Vasquez. Mr. Vasquez, how are you doing?
Good, sir. How about you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Vasquez, you have an announcement that you'd like to make in Mr. Cannon's case?
You know, Mr. Cannon is in the FIP program, you know?
Yes, sir.
When did you sign that contract?
Like 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
Not 2 weeks ago, about 2 months ago, huh?
No, I just started my classes, because when I had first time I started, they had lost a teacher. And then they got the teacher back and I had signed up.
Did
Okay.
you sign in February or?
I just signed.
April 8th.
I see April 8 on the docket. Okay, so that program is what, like 18 weeks or something like that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, which is about 4.5 months. So you go once a week? Is it
Yes, sir.
Once a week?
Every Wednesday.
Okay. Give us a trial date toward the end of the year. We're gonna do that to give you time to get through the program.
Trial date?
I mean, not a trial date, announcement date. Let's see. In November,
Announcement of plea docket. On announcement,
yeah, announcement.
we do 11/15.
Okay, it's gonna be reset to November 15 of 2021. You're gonna get your reset from your attorney. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. You stand over there and you're gonna stand over here and your attorney has to sign the reset.
You're reading this message, you can sign it.
Garrett Dave Chapman. This is cause number 298980. Case is style. It's a motion to revoke probation. Case is style. State of Texas versus Garrett Dave Chapman. Mr. Chapman, how are you doing?
You doing good? How you doing?
I'm doing fine, Mr. Chapman. You're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Joel Vasquez. Mr. Vasquez, you have an announcement?
Your Honor, I have not had contact with Mr. Chapman. I spoke with Ms. Reeves about him yesterday. And I have the correct phone number. Mr. Chapman's phone, is that the correct number?
Yes, sir.
But we just have not talked and I'd like an opportunity to.
How long you been on this case?
Judge, I was appointed June 18th.
Okay.
We just have not.
Okay, so,
I don't know if you've got my messages or.
No, I ain't got no message from you. I was wondering how it worked. This is my first time doing it. So I know. I just seen the paper that said 30. So I thought.
Mr. Chapman, you've been here actually over a year.
I had a lawyer though.
Okay, but I'm just saying you've been here over a year. So you've been here, and then this is an old case. You had a lawyer on when you first got on probation. Okay. So, Mr. Chapman, you need to stay in contact with your attorney. Okay, if your attorney not, you need to stand, so you need to get his information. And I think we provided that information to you when he was appointed. It's normally, we give it to you on your reset. So stay in contact with your attorney. These cases need to be resolved in a rapid, well, a fashion that is that doesn't take prolong, that doesn't require a whole lot of time. I know that we've gone through COVID, and that's been basically the most, for the most part, that's been the delay. But now you have an attorney. Stay in contact with your attorney so that we can get these matters resolved.
Yes, sir.
All right?
Yes, sir.
Now, your case is going to be reset. Could you give us a reset date? 30 days. Okay, the case is gonna be reset September 30, 2021. Stay in contact with your attorney. You're gonna stand over here. Your attorney gonna get your reset. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, you too.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, and this is your last case, Mr. Vasquez?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're free to go as well once you get your reset, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you. You as well.
I think I got the form, I believe I have. I
Got
brought
the-
back.
The discovery certification is over here. Mr. Boudreaux, you looking for the discovery certification?
Yes, sir.
It's over there. Your hand is on it, right there.
Thank you.
Okay.
I gave you, turn the reset.
Oh, yes.
What do you
I have
think?
a sign for it.
No, you don't have to sign anything, you're free to go. Well, let's see if you can talk to you.
This is Mitchell.
I'm sorry. Make sure that this is the real case.
Yeah, it's close.
We're in session in cause number 326-186, cause number 326-232, cause number 328-846, and cause number 328-848. All four cases are styled the state of Texas versus David Parkinson. Mr. Parkinson, would you please raise your right hand Mr. Parkinson, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, you may put your hand down. How you doing, Mr. Parkinson? That's good. Mr. Parkinson, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. David Grove. Mr. Grove, how are you doing?
Good, Judge.
All right, that's good. Mr. Parkinson, in cause number 326-186, the information alleges that on or about January 19 of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, you was charged with the Class A misdemeanor offense of unlawfully carrying a weapon while engaging in criminal activity. Mr. Parkinson, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Parkinson, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Can you repeat that?
Are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Parkinson, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishment. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Mr. Parkinson, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Parkinson, there's a set of initials DP on a line next to a box that's checked no contender, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On the next page of the same document, Mr. Parkinson, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Did you sign this document?
Yes, sir.
On the next document, which is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are two boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I also have before me, Mr. Parkinson, a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
It is.
Now, Mr. Parkinson, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney, Mr. Grove, go over all of these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer States 1?
Yes, Your Honor, and also like to offer States 2, the probable cause affidavit.
No objection to either.
Okay, no objection. State's Exhibits Number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Grove, you advising counsel, Mr. Parkinson, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None that I'm aware of.
Mr. Parkinson, your attorney, Mr. Grove, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation? You have to speak up.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Parkinson, take that gum out your mouth and put it in the trash can. Okay, now, Mr. Parkinson, well, let me do this, Mr. Grove again. Is there any evidence that Mr. Parkinson is mentally incompetent to stand trial, Mr. Grove?
None that I'm aware of.
And Mr. Parkinson, your attorney, Mr. Grove, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Parkinson, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers are freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
The agreement is for 180 days, probated over 18 months, an $800 fine, 80 hours community service, forfeiture of the weapon, as well as forfeiture of the weapon in cause number 328848. And that's to run concurrent with cause number 326232. And the state is dismissing cause numbers 328846 and 328848.
Mr. Parkinson, the state is offering that you serve 180 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve 180 days in the Jefferson County Jail in this case because you'll be placed on probation for 18 months. Do you understand that?
Yes.
During the 18-month probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $800 plus court costs. And the total fine and court costs in this case is $1,152. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month and a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You will also be required to reimburse the court-appointed attorney's fees of $250. Make sure we have his affidavit introducing. The total monthly installments that you'll be required to pay on this case is $160 each month. Mr. Parkinson, will you be able to pay the $160 each month?
Yes, sir.
You'll also be required to perform 80 hours of community service. And this case will run concurrent with cause number 326232. And the state will dismiss cause numbers 328846 and cause number 328848. And there will be a forfeiture of the weapon in this case.
And 328848.
Is it on another page?
I'm putting it, I'm adding it.
Okay.
But it's on there.
Okay, and the state will, and there will be a forfeiture in cause number 328848.
Yeah, it's the weapon in this case.
Okay. Mr. Parkinson, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you, and also, Mr. Parkinson, you will also have to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of your probation. Now, Mr. Parkinson, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer? All right. Now, Mr. Parkinson, I have before me, I guess, two documents. And one document in this case is cause number 326186. The document is a motion for forfeiture of a weapon. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is that your signature above the line that is titled defendant?
It is.
Now, prior to signing and initialing this document, did your attorney go over this document with you? And did you read and understand everything in this document? And is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Okay. Again, now, Mr. Parkinson, you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
I do.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And I have another document before me, which is a motion to forfeit the weapon. And this motion to forfeit is in cause number 328848. Parkinson, you recognize this document? Is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
And prior to signing and initialing this document, did your attorney go over this document with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in this document?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Okay, I will be granting this motion. Okay, now, Mr. Parkinson, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. And Mr. Parkinson, I have another case before me. In this case, Mr. Parkinson, is cause number 326232. And the information in this case, Mr. Parkinson, alleges that on or about January 19 of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense, possession of a controlled substance penalty group 2A. Mr. Parkinson, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Parkinson, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Okay.
Now, you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Correct. Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Parkinson, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishments, also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Parkinson, there's a set of initials DP on the line next to a box checked NOLA contingent, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of the same document, Mr. Parkinson, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document, which is trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I also have before me a document that is titled the discovery certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Parkinson, prior to signing and initialing all of these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney, Mr. Grove, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor, and also like to offer States 2, the probable cause affidavit.
Mr. Groves?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay. No objection. State's Exhibits Number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Grove, you're advising counsel, Mr. Parkinson, in this case as well. Is there any evidence that he's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None that I'm aware of, Your Honor.
And Mr. Parkinson, your attorney, Mr. Grove, have advised and counsel, are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided fully effective and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Parkinson, you've entered a plea of no contest to this case. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Parkinson, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is the agreement in this case?
The agreement is 90 days probated over 1 year, a $400 fine, 40 hours community service, drug offender class, and that's to run concurrent with cause number 326186 and the dismissal of cause numbers 328846 and 328848.
Mr. Parkinson, in this case, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $400 plus court costs of $452. It comes to a total of fine and court costs of $852. You'll be required to pay or reimburse the crime lab $100, and you will not be required to pay a probation fee in this case. However, you will be required to pay a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and you will reimburse the Jefferson County for the court-appointed attorney's fees of $50 in this case. Now, The total monthly installments that you would have to pay in this case is $100 a month. Will you be able to pay the $100 each month?
Yes.
You'll also be required to perform 40 hours of community service. And this case will run concurrently with cause number 326186. And the state will dismiss cause numbers 328846 and cause number 328848. And you will also have to be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of your probation. Mr. Parkinson, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer? Okay. Mr. Parkinson, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Mr. Parkinson, you were handed a model written admonishment on ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. And in accordance with the Texas Administrative Code, Section 176.1, the court hereby admonishes you of the following. Number one, you are by entry or order or judgment ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Number two, beginning now, if you possess a firearm or ammunition, it could lead to charges against you. If you have questions about how long you will be ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, you should consult an attorney. Number three, under Texas Penal Code Section 46.013A, firearm means any device designed, made, or adapted to expel a projectile through a barrel by using the energy generated by an explosion or burning substance, or any device readily convertible to that use. B, firearm does not include a firearm that may have as an integral part a folding knife blade or other characteristics of weapons made illegal by Penal Code Chapter 46, and that is one, an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, or two, a replica of any antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, but only if the replica does not use rimfire or centerfire ammunition. The statutes listed below are a starting point for ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. For more information about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or for more information on how long your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition lasts, the court recommends you contact an attorney. Code of Criminal Procedure Article 17.292, Magistrate's Order for Emergency Protection. Code of Criminal Procedure Article 42.0131, Notice for persons convicted of misdemeanors involving family violence. Penal Code Section 46.02, unlawful carrying weapons. Penal Code Section 46.04, unlawful possession of firearm. Penal Code Section 25.07, violation of certain court orders or conditions of bond in a family violence, child abuse or neglect, sexual assault or abuse, indecent assault, stalking or trafficking case. Family Code Section 85.026, warning on protective orders. Now, Mr. Parkinson, you can keep that copy for your records. This will conclude your case. Stand on the X in front of the court coordinator, excuse me, in front of the court clerk, and once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Yes, that's what I'm doing now.
And then if you'll sign it right here in front of you, you won't be able to see it. You'll sign it one more time for your other case. Sign it and sign it. Sign again. And raise your right hand. You swear that you've never before been given deferred adjudication or regular probation for a felony or misdemeanor in any other state except for what's listed here. And then there's nothing else pending except for these which are being taken care of today. And these are all of your papers, and you need to go to probation this morning, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, you're welcome.
You have to drop this over there.
We're in session of calls number 312274, cases style of state of Texas versus Ornisha Raquel Mitchell. Your name is Ornisha Raquel Mitchell? Okay. Ms. Mitchell, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Mitchell, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
You may put your hand down. How are you doing, Ms. Mitchell?
I'm fine. How you
Yeah,
doing?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Cobb, you waiving a record in this case?
Yes, sir, we are.
Okay. Ms. Mitchell, I have before me a motion to revoke your unadjudicated probation. And this motion alleged that on October 24th of 2017, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you were, well, the evidence was sufficient beyond a reasonable doubt to support a finding of guilt for the charge of Class B theft. However, the court deferred adjudication of guilt and placed you on probation for a period of 3 months. The state filed the motion to revoke your unadjudicated probation on January 22nd of 2019. In this motion, there are 2 allegations. Is she pleading to both allegations or one?
We just had just one.
Just one, Your Honor.
Okay, the state is abandoning allegation number 2.
That's correct.
Ms. Mitchell, the state alleges that you failed to report to the Jefferson County Probation Office as ordered by the court for the months of July, August, September, October, and November of 2018 as directed in violation of condition 4 of your probation order. Is that true or not true?
True.
Now, are you pleading true to allegation 1 freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading true because it is true?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Mitchell. I also have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishments. Ms. Mitchell, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And on page 2 of the same document, Ms. Mitchell, are these your initials AM on the line next to the box
Yes,
that's
sir.
checked true to allegation 1?
Yes, sir.
And on page 3, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, which is titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, Ms. Mitchell, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Mitchell, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney, Mr. Cobb, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct
Yes, sir.
to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections, Mr. Cobb?
No objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Cobb, you've advised in counsel, Ms. Mitchell. Is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None, Your Honor.
Ms. Mitchell, your attorney, Mr. Cobb, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Mitchell, I'll accept your plea of true to allegation number 1. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I'll also find that your plea of true and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I'll also find that there is sufficient evidence to revoke your unadjudicated probation, and your probation is hereby revoked. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
The agreement is for 15 days county jail, and that's to begin July 30th today at 6 p.m.
Okay. Now, Ms. Mitchell, the state is offering that you serve 15 days in the Jefferson County Jail. You'll be given credit for any time that you entitled to get by law. The court cost in this case is $127. Ms. Mitchell, are you able to pay the $127 before you release?
Before I release?
Yeah. Are you able to pay the $127?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You are?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, Ms. Mitchell, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Mitchell, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Ms. Mitchell, you'll have to turn yourself in today at or before 6 p.m. at the county jail. She's gonna give you the paperwork that you need to bring with you. Ms. Mitchell, this will conclude your case. Stand over there on the X in front of our court clerk. And once you finish it here, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Yes, sir. You too. Thank you so
All
much.
right. And Mr. Kyle, let's see.
I think that's just about the last case I have, except there is a Sanders.
Mary Sanders.
She never
Go
answers.
ahead.
so-
Right.
You did say that whatever time I have with the county clerk. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. You need to here's what you need to bring with you. Make sure you bring it with you when you go there today.
Okay.
You want to shoot a paper?
Okay, who we have next? Antoine, Clinton, and Santana. Well, none of the attorneys here, are they? Yeah, they're here. They signed them up, but it.
He should be here. Your Honor, does that take care of me?
Yes.
Okay.
May I approach Your Honor?
Yes, Mr. Jones, you have a non-disclosure set, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Melinda Tran, she said she's feeling sick this morning, but I don't know if you need her to be on there as well, but
Okay, we if you wanted your, well, if we needed to ask her a question, Miss
I'd be able to get her on the phone.
well, this we're in a our criminal sessions is still not over yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, just put your mic on mute, and then when we're ready for you, we'll call your case up.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Is that? You need to turn your phone off, sir. Let's see. 326. We're in session in cause number 326-986. The case is style of State of Texas versus Juan Ramon Santana. Is your full name Juan Ramon Santana?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Santana, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Santana, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Santana, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Santana?
Good so far.
That's good. I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Santana, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Don Boudreaux. Mr. Boudreaux, how are you doing?
Just fine, sir.
That's good. Mr. Santana, the information in this case alleges that on or about May 4th of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of fraudulent removal of a writing. Do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes.
And to this charge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Now, you,
No contest.
now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yeah.
Okay, now, Mr. Santana, I'm gonna show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
On page 2 of the same document, Mr. Santana, there's a set of initials, JS on a line next to the box that's checked no contingency, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes.
On page 3 of the same document, Mr. Santana, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Did you sign this document?
Yes.
On the next document, which is trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, there's a signature. Well, first of all, do you recognize this document? And is that your signature below, above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Mr. Santana, I have another document here that's titled the discovery certification. Mr. Santana, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Is that your signature down here above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Santana, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney, Mr. Boudreaux, go over all of these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Mr. Santana, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer States 1?
Yes, Your Honor, and also like to offer States 2, the probable cause affidavit.
Mr. Boudreaux, you have any objections to State's
No,
Exhibit
sir.
1 and 2? No objections. State's Exhibit number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Boudreaux, you advise and counsel Mr. Santana. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None that I'm aware of, Judge.
Mr. Santana, your attorney, Mr. Boudreaux, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. Santana, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
The agreement is for 90 days, probated over 1 year, a $500 fine, and 40 hours community service.
Mr. Santana, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $352, which comes to a total of fine and court costs of $852. You will also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month and a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You'll be required to reimburse Jefferson County $250 for the court-appointed attorney's fees. Now, your total monthly installments will be $175 a month. Mr. Santana, will you be able to pay the $175 a month?
Yeah, well, I have a question.
Hold on a minute. Get his affidavit, and just.
Judge, may I say something?
Yeah, okay, hold on a minute. Just hold on. I need to get some paperwork from her. Okay. Now, let me ask this question again. Mr. Santana, will you be able to pay the $175 a month?
Yes.
You will? Okay. Now, Mr. Boudreaux, you wanted to say something?
Yes, sir. Judge, he has, before he was released from jail, he spent 10 days in jail. And we would ask that if there's any.
Well, I mean, y'all have an agreed plea bargain. I mean, if you need to renegotiate with the prosecutor at this time, what's before me is an agreed plea bargain. It's not an unagreed plea bargain. Is that correct? So if it's agreed, I mean, if y'all need to agree to something else, you can do that. I mean, but at this point, what's before me isn't an agreed plea bargain. You understand what I'm saying?
You're not going to get credit for that.
Well, if you need some more time to talk to your client and negotiate with the prosecutor, I can give you that time.
He was saying,
Yeah, but I'm saying I can't.
Yes,
at this
I
point,
understand.
it's not a negotiation thing between the court and the defense or the prosecutor. I mean, if let's see, if there's not a meeting of the minds, if y'all don't have no agreement as to what the plea bargain is, then we can't go forward. But if y'all have an agreement, I'm prepared to look at the agreement and decide whether I will or will not follow that agreement.
Judge, I was thinking, and it's my fault, where I was thinking that he might be.
Listen, okay, I know, see where you're going, but you need to negotiate all of that stuff up front before you come to the court on an agreed plea bargain, because you announced to the court that y'all have an agreement. I asked the prosecutor, is there a plea bargain agreement? She said yes, and she stated what the plea bargain agreement was. And I was reading part of that plea bargain agreement before I asked him, whether or not he can afford to pay the monthly fees. And so if y'all need some more time to negotiate, y'all can do that. But this is not the time to negotiate during the plea bargain, during the time that during punishment. Okay. So if that's what y'all want to do, just fine. If not, you just need to let the court know what y'all want to do. So what I'll do, I'll just be in recess to give y'all time to talk. Okay.
Yes, sir.
We'll be in recess.
Okay.
This is cause number 318896. Case is style, the state of Texas versus Kendrick Rashawn Antoine. Is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Antoine, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Antoine, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Mr. Antoine, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Antoine? I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Antoine, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Ryan Matuska. Mr. Matuska, how are you doing?
Morning, Judge.
Good morning. Now, Mr. Antoine, well, Mr. Matuska, do you waive a record?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Antoine, I have before me an information that alleges that on or about January 27 of 2018, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to Class B misdemeanor offense of possession of marijuana. Mr. Antoine, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Antoine, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, no contest? What did he say? Oh, you pleading guilty?
It's MTRP.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Antoine, I have before me a motion to revoke your unadjudicated probation. And in this motion, it alleges that on August 14th of 2018, while you're in County Court at Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, that the court found that the evidence was sufficient beyond a reasonable doubt to support a finding of guilt. However, you were placed on unadjudicated probation for 1 year for the offense of possession of marijuana, which is a Class B. Do you understand, Mr. Antoine? The state on January 27 of 2020 filed a motion to revoke your unadjudicated probation. And in this motion, Mr. Antoine, there are 3 allegations. Now, state, are you proceeding on all 3?
Just one, Your Honor.
Well, that one is not gonna, if it's just a one, as you plead on just one, on allegation, plead true to allegation 1?
That's what I wrote, Judge.
Yeah, I don't think based on the case law, he's only pleading the inability to pay. Yeah, you can't, that's not you have to plead on another ground.
Your Honor, we were open to any of the grounds that the prosecutor was open to.
Well, I mean, this is your motion. You can look at it and y'all decide which allegation is going to plead in addition to or with the exception of 1.
We'll do condition 14, Judge.
Which is that, what is condition, what are the allegations at the bottom? Is it 1, 2, or 3? I don't know.
2.
Okay, let me, here you go. Y'all can make that change on the, okay. So, read this again. Now, Mr. Antoine, in this motion, there are 3 allegations. And state, are you abandoning counts 1 and 3?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Antoine, allegation 2 alleged that you failed to perform community service hours as required, as ordered by the court in violation of condition 14 of your probation order. Is that true or not true? True. Now, Mr. Antoine, are you pleading true to allegation 2 freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading true because it is true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Antoine, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea. My screen is also labeled as State Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
On page 2 of the same document, Mr. Antoine, there's a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked MTRP true to allegation 2. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And are these your initials?
Yes, sir.
And on page 2 of the same, no, page 3 of this document, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document, which is titled trial court certification defendant's right of appeal, Mr. Antoine, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes checked at the top of this document. The first box check states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that? The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that? And Mr. Antoine, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, he did.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit Number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection. State's Exhibit Number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Matuska, you advised in counsel, Mr. Antoine, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Mr. Antoine, your attorney, Mr. Matuska, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Antoine, I will accept your plea of true to allegation number 2. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of true and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
The agreement is for 9 days jail, credit for time served, tax and retired court costs.
Mr. Antoine, the state is offering that you serve 9 days in the Jefferson County Jail. You'll be given credit for, well, and that you've already served 9 days in Jefferson County Jail, so therefore you will not have to serve any more time in jail in this case. And you'll be given credit for time served. The court costs in this case is $57. You will not have to pay, it's $67. You will not have to pay the $67 because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court costs will be taxed and retired. Mr. Antoine, do you understand the state's offer? Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Antoine, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Antoine, please stand on the X. You're going to follow the directions of our clerk. And once you finish following those directions, you'll be free to go. You have a blessed day. And you have a blessed day as well, Mr. Matuska.
Thank you.
Right, thumbprint, and you swear.
Yeah, yes. Let's see, what case is this? Is this Mr. Santana? Mr. Santana, would you come forward? And Mr. Santana, you don't use your phone while you're in court, okay? Okay, yes.
Judge, he had 2 days in Jefferson County Jail where he was talking about 10 days. He spent 8 days in Montgomery County. So I told him that it would probably be, he didn't, if he wanted to go out to the jail and everything, it would, he might get credit for the 2 days, but would rather waive that and just go ahead with the plea as it stands.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, let me do this here.
Sure, whenever you're ready.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready. Where's that judgment? Oh, here it is. Okay, now, Mr. Santana, let me do this. I think we got to the point, we was at the judgment. At least we was in the punishment stage. All right. We're back on the record. We're back in session at cause number 326-986. And I have before me Mr. Juan Ramon Santana. Is that correct? Yes. And Mr. Santana is represented by his attorney, Mr. Don Boudreaux. And previously, Mr. Santana entered a plea of no contest to the charge of removal of a writing, fraudulent removal of a writing. And Mr. Santana acknowledged that his initials was on page 2 of State's Exhibit 1, misdemeanor plea admonishment, and he acknowledged that his signature was on page 3 of State's Exhibit number 1. He also acknowledged that his signature was on the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. He also acknowledged that he understood the 2 boxes that was checked at the top. One box stated that it was a plea bargain case, he had no right of appeal, and the other box stated that he was waiving his right or giving up his right to an appeal. He also acknowledged that his signature was on the discovery certification, and the state recited what the offer was, and the court was in the process of repeating that offer to Mr. Santana. And basically the state was offering that he served 90 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, that will be probated for 1 year, and he will pay a fine of $500 plus court costs and perform 40 hours of community service. And now, Mr. Santana, the court will go through the offer again. Mr. Santana, the court is the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, that jail time will be probated for 1 year. During your 1 year probationary period, that means that you'll be on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $352, which comes to a total of $852. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You'll also be required to reimburse the court-appointed attorney's fees to Jefferson County in the amount of $250. Now, the total monthly installments that you would have to pay for this offense is $175 per month. Mr. Santana, will you be able to pay the $175 per month?
Yes, that's gonna be for a year, right?
Yes. And you will also be required to perform 40 hours of community service and adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of probation. Mr. Santana, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Santana, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Santana, please stand on the X next to your attorney. You're gonna follow the directions of the clerk. And once you finish following those directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Okay, put your right thumb in the blue square, hold it down. Okay. And if you could sign that black box right there, you won't be able to see it. And Mr. Goodyear, sign. Would you raise your right hand? Do you swear that you've never before been given deferred adjudication or regular probation for a felony or misdemeanor in this or any other state? And you further swear that nothing else is pending? So your paperwork is right here.
Mr. Sodman?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, thanks for being patient with us, but we haven't heard anything else from your attorney. And so we do know from the message that he left this morning that he was under the weather. And so he said he was going to try to get on Zoom, but apparently he's not on Zoom. And so we're not going to let you wait around any longer. We're going to reset your case. So all right, stay in contact with your attorney. And thanks for being patient with us. And you're free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Sideman, Mr. Yes. Okay, you're free to go. Yeah, we're gonna have to bring them in too and do the same thing. And just bring them in and just reset them, yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Mr. Charles Smith and Mr. Reginald Cole, your attorney, Mr. Is sick, and so your case is going to be reset. Just stand on the X, make sure you social distance, and then once you get your reset, you'll be free to go. And y'all, thanks for being patient with us.
Yes, sir.
And y'all have a blessed day.
You too, sir.
Okay. She been in communication, but you probably bring that person in, bring his clients in too. Yeah. Lawrence Clinton. Lawrence Clinton. What docket is?
Did you say Clinton?
Yes, Lawrence Clinton. Ms. Maxie, you got time to do this one. Clinton. This is cause number 328896. Case is style of state of Texas versus Lawrence Richard Clinton. Mr. Clinton. Oh, excuse me, Lawrence Leroy Clinton. Mr. Clinton, is that your full name? Lawrence Leroy Clinton?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Clinton, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Clinton, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Mr. Clinton, you may put your hand down. How you doing, Mr. Clinton? That's good. Mr. Clinton, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Don Boudreaux. Mr. Clinton, Mr. Boudreaux, do you waive a record?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Clinton, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor, excuse me, that's titled the information. In this information, it alleges that on or about January 16th of 2021, while you in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Mr. Clinton, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes,
And to this charge, Mr. Clinton, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
no contest.
Now, you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes,
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
yes,
Mr. Clinton, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishment. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of the same document, there are a set of initials LC on the line next to a box that's checked no contender, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
yes,
On the next page of the same document, Mr. Clinton, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature?
yes,
On the next document, which is titled the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, Mr. Clinton, there is a, do you recognize this document?
yes,
Is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
yes,
There are 2 boxes checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
yes,
The second box states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that?
yes,
I have another document here. This document is titled the discovery certification. Do you recognize this document?
yes,
Is this your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
yes.
Now, Mr. Clinton, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney, Mr. Boudreaux, go over these documents with you?
Yes,
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
yes,
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor, and also like to offer states 2, the probable cause affidavit.
Mr. Boudreaux, you have any objections, States 1 and 2? No objections, States 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Boudreaux, you've advised and counseled Mr. Clinton. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir.
Mr. Clinton, your attorney, Mr. Boudreaux, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes,
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
yes,
Mr. Clinton, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given, and I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
The agreement is for 180 days, probated over 1 year, a $500 fine, 75 hours community service, DWI education, drug and alcohol assessment, and interlock device.
Okay, Mr. Clinton, the state is offering that you serve 180 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail because you'll be on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $422. The total fine and court cost is $922. You'll be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month and a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You will also be required to pay Jefferson County DWI education class an initial evaluation fee of $125. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay $50. You will also be required to perform 75 hours of community service, attend and complete the DWI education class, have a drug and alcohol assessment, and you will be required to install a DWI interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate. In addition, you'll be required to adhere to all the other standard terms of this probation. Mr. Clinton, do you understand the state's offer?
Kind of. Not completely. You just said any motor vehicle or operate.
That you own or operate. You cannot drive a vehicle without having an interlock device on it?
No, I got 6 vehicles that I drive, and I gotta have 6 interlock.
If you drive 6 vehicles, you're gonna have to have, they own or operate.
I own 6 vehicles, and I
Okay.
operate 6 vehicles. That's what I'm asking you.
Well, I'm just telling you what the order is. You're gonna have any vehicle that you own or operate. Okay.
Wait, so if I drive my wife's car, I gotta have, no,
You drive anybody's car, you're gonna have to have an interlock device on it. You cannot drive a car without an interlock device on it.
no, I don't wanna agree with that. I don't wanna agree with that.
Okay. So, okay, Mr. Boudreaux. So that the plea is rejected. We're gonna set it for trial.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Oh, we just wait till our court coordinator come back in so we can set this, give you a trial setting. We're gonna this plea.
You said that one vehicle, the one I made,
Yes. Sanders.
I mean, there's nothing we can do about the interlock.
Placature. This Jerry Blackerter, Compar. It's cause number 317500 and 328022. Mr. Blackerter, your full name is Jerry Jean Blackerter.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Blackerter?
I've been better.
That's good. Now, Mr. Blackerter, the last time you was here, your case was set to give you opportunity to hire an attorney.
Yes, sir. I've been in the hospital a lot. I was in there for almost a month.
Okay,
They
so
haven't released me to go back to work yet.
Okay,
I go back next week and they have to remove my stents and my gallbladder.
oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, sir. I have 3 stents for my pancreas.
Wow.
Because I had a gallstone and backed up and made cysts, so they put temporary stents.
Wow.
I've had them in for like 2 months. They take them out next week.
Okay. And you still want to hire your attorney?
Yes, sir. Because once I get released back to work, I will.
Okay, so how much time do you need?
I probably have the procedure done next week. It'll take another 2 weeks before they release me to go back.
Let me do this here. We're gonna give you 45 days.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Stand over there on the X to my right, and over there. Yeah. And you're gonna get your reset. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go. And we'll be praying for your speedy recovery.
Yes, sir.
You have a blessed day.
You too.
Jermichael Jones to verify Jill and work. What's that? Mr. Jones, I see here, I'm looking at a note. Now, let me put this. Your full name is Jermichael Earl Jones?
Yes, sir.
I'm looking at a note. It says to verify jail and work.
I think I'm supposed to bring back the time that I took I had sit in jail, but I had got into some old stuff. I'd done a whole more jail time and just never brought it back. I ain't never get to bring you to, I had missed the court date because I had went to jail for another case.
Okay, let me ask you here now, that jail time that you, was it jail time here in this county or in another county?
Yes, sir, this county.
Okay, you were supposed to go to the jail. They was gonna give you that information? That's
Yes,
what you're
sir.
saying?
Yes, sir. But when I had called the probation lady the other day. She had said that she had looked at the computer that she think I had enough time to get time served. She was gonna put notes down or something. Ms. Belinda.
Okay, hold on a minute.
Sure, the note that I have is on July 21st, 2021. Defendant phoned this office and stated that he doesn't remember signing this offense. He informed I informed the offender that he would be, the probation, excuse me, would be recommended revocation.
Okay, well, that's totally different from what you just said.
Right.
From what he said.
States different.
Okay, okay. He's not your probation officer. He was just reading the notes that was in the file.
Yeah.
And based on the notes that he read from the file, it seems like they're recommending that your probation be revoked. Is that correct? To proceed on the revocation. Okay, so if that's different from what your conversation was, you might need to talk to your probation officer. So at this time, let me do this. Does he have a judge's explanation of his rights? His name is Jermichael Jones. It's cause number 319046. Seemed like he would have that. He doesn't? Oh. Well, okay. He said he was, I'm just looking at the notes. Okay. Now, Mr. Jones, there's a document there that's titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without an Attorney. Do you see that? I'm getting ready to go over this document with you. And it reads, as a defendant in a criminal case, you have three options. Number one, you may hire an attorney. Do you understand that option?
Yes, sir.
Number two, if you do not have enough money to hire an attorney, you may request an attorney be appointed to represent you. Do you understand that option?
Yes, sir.
Number three, you may represent yourself. Do you understand that option?
Yes, sir.
If you want an attorney to represent you and have enough money to hire an attorney, the case will be reset to give you time to do so. If you want an attorney and do not have the money to hire one, you will need to fill out a financial questionnaire so that the proper person can determine whether or not to appoint an attorney to represent you. You may not speak to the prosecutor, and that's the assistant district attorney, about your case unless you sign a waiver of your right to be represented by an attorney. Be aware that there are dangers to self-representation. Waiving your right to an attorney and representing yourself may result in a worse outcome for you and your case, including the loss of significant legal rights and opportunities relating to military service, possession of a firearm, housing and public benefits, child custody, immigration status for non-citizens, and employment. If you choose to proceed without an attorney, you may change your mind at any time and may request counsel from the court. At the bottom of this document, it reads, defendant's choice. Mark initials next to only one choice. If your choice is, I want to reset this case to hire my own attorney, then you'll put your initials on the first line to the left. If you have already hired an attorney, then you'll put your initials on the second line to the left and the name of the attorney on the line to the right. If your choice is, I want to apply for court-appointed counsel, then you'll put your initials on the third line to the left. If you've been appointed a court-appointed counsel, then you put your initials on the fourth line to the left and the name of the attorney on the line to the right. If you want to waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself, then you'll put your initials on the fifth line to the left. Once you have finished initialing one of the 5 lines, then you will sign at the bottom of this document on the line that says defendant, and you will date it today's date, July 30th, 2021. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you may make your choice.
No, the current point is also like the current point, right? Yeah, sure.
Okay, now Mr. Okay. Now you, Mr. Jones, you stated that you would like to, you want to apply for court-appointed attorney?
Yes, sir.
You have a document before you that is titled the affidavit of indigency. You need to take a seat and fill that out, and once you fill that out, we'll bring you back up. Okay. Mr. Matuska, we have, is that Shane Leger?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Leger, would you come forward? We're in session in 2 cases. First case is cause number 3272216, and the second case is cause number 329361. All 2 cases are styled the state of Texas versus Shane Tyler Leger. Is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Leger?
Doing good.
That's good, Mr. Leger. You're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Ryan Matuska. Mr. Matuska, Mr. Leger has a motion to revoke probation. Probation what is the position of the DA's office and the probation department?
Sir, on this one, probation recommends a revocation.
Okay, Mr. Matuska. What is your announcement?
Your Honor, we were going to try to work out the MTRP, but he's got an underlying offense. So we haven't been able to do that yet. Kind of hoping we might be able to still, but we may need a reset for that.
Okay, how much time do y'all need?
Standard research.
Standard?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll reset. Give us the standard reset.
September 3rd.
Okay, it's gonna be reset to September 3rd. Once you get your reset, Mr. Matuska, you and your client will be free to go. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. And I think, Mr. Matuska, this will conclude your cases.
Yes, sir. Your Honor.
Okay, you're free to go as well. You have a blessed day. Stand over here, get your reset. You finish, Mr. Jones? You finished filling out the document?
Oh, no, sir, I ain't even know that. Actually, my bad.
Stella Suarez? Name is, full name is Estella Ann Suarez?
Yes.
How you doing, Ms. Suarez? That's good. Now, Ms. Suarez, is this your first time here on this case?
Yes.
On the,
I
yeah.
did Zoom last time.
Oh, you did Zoom?
I had COVID.
Okay. So how you doing now? You doing all right?
I'm doing better. I'm just a nurse. I get exposed off and on, yeah.
Oh, okay. I can understand. Does she have a, in her case, it's Ms. Suarez, does she have a judge's explanation?
No, sir.
Okay, Ms. Suarez, there should be a document up there on the table that's titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. I will go over this document with you. And it states, as a defendant in a criminal case, you have three options. Number one, you may hire an attorney. Do you understand that option? Number two, if you do not have enough money to hire an attorney, you may request an attorney be appointed to represent you. Do you understand that option? Number three, you may represent yourself. Do you understand that option? If you want an attorney to represent you and have enough money to hire an attorney, the case will be reset to give you time to do so. If you want an attorney and do not have the money to hire one, you will need to fill out a financial questionnaire so that the proper person can determine whether or not to appoint an attorney to represent you. You may not speak to the prosecutor about your case unless you sign a written waiver of your right to be represented by an attorney. Be aware that there are dangers to self-representation. Waiving your right to an attorney and representing yourself may result in a worse outcome for you and your case, including the loss of significant legal rights and opportunities relating to military service, possession of a firearm, housing and public benefits, child custody, immigration status for non-citizens, and employment. If you choose to proceed without an attorney, you may change your mind at any time and may request counsel from the court. At the bottom of this document, it states defendant's choice. Mark initials next to only one choice. If your choice is I want to reset this case to hire my own attorney, then you'll put your initials on the first line to the left. If you've already hired an attorney, then you'll put your initials on the second line to the left and the name of the attorney on the line to the right. If you want to apply for court-appointed counsel, then you'll put your initials on the third line to the left. If you've already been appointed an attorney, you'll put your initials on the fourth line to the left and the name of the attorney on the line to the right. If you want to waive your right to an attorney, represent yourself, you'll put your initials on the fifth line to the left. Now, once you have finished initialing one of the 5 lines, you will sign on the line where it says defendant, and you will place today's date, July 30th of 2021. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, make your choice. Okay, Ms. Suarez, you gonna stand on the X?
Your Honor, can I ask you something? I only get paid twice a month and I just started back working, so is there any way I can go longer than the first month?
Well, it's not gonna be, she'll give you 45 days.
45, okay.
Would that be enough?
I could probably at least do the down payment for them.
Okay.
I'll talk to someone.
Okay, stand over there. This Ms. Suarez, she wants to hire her attorney. Here you go. Mr. Jermichael Jones. Okay, Mr. Jermichael Jones, I have before me a document that is titled Affidavit of Indigency. Recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the second page of this document?
Yes, sir.
Now, prior to signing this document, did you read everything in this document?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jones. You meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of court-appointed attorney. Your attorney in this case is going to be Ms. Lori Perazzo.
So
Yes.
that's why I talked to him about the whole situation, because I don't know how could I get off for 90 days for not
Well,
even
Mr. Jones, you know, you have an attorney. You
all right,
can
that's why I asked. All right.
talk to your attorney about whatever questions you have.
Yes, sir. That's why.
Okay? Now, let me tell you this here. Anything that you say, well, first of all, you have a right against self-incrimination. Anything that you say can and will be used against you in the court of law.
Yes, sir.
All right, now you have an attorney. Your attorney in this case is Ms. Lori Perazzo. We're going to give you the contact information for Ms. Perazzo. He needs to okay, stand over here on the in front of our clerk. He needs a date he needs a date where he has defended oath. Yeah, he didn't do it on it. You're in front of her.
And raise your right hand. Do you swear that all the information you've given here today is true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
I used to get.
that Mary Sanders? You come forward. This is call number 315944. The case is styled State of Texas versus Mary Margaret Sanders. Is that your full name? How you doing, Miss Sanders? That's good. I'm doing fine. Miss Sanders, you're here with your attorney, Mr. Bruce Cobb. Mr. Cobb, Ms. Sanders' case is set on the motion to revoke probation docket. Probation, what is the recommendation?
Recommendation from probation for revocation.
Okay, Mr. Cobb, you have an announcement you'd like to make?
Sure would like to get some of the underlying stuff that she's accused of. I understand she doesn't have a felony anymore.
No, they dismissed it.
What about the other cases? There's a whole bunch of cases listed on your NTRP.
Let's see her name. Hold on a minute. Sanders. Okay, so Mr. Cobb, what is your announcement? You setting it for a contested hearing or have you talked to the prosecutor?
Not really. Is this
What
your
they,
case?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
you want to talk to the prosecutor?
I'd like to get a reset.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't have an objection.
Okay, we're gonna reset it for, keep it on the announcement docket?
Right.
Well, it's the MTRP, so.
Yeah. I'd like to find out if any of those other items are still in existence.
Sir, I can tell you one of these unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, the one county district attorney refused.
Oh, that does change things. You know if I can get a copy of some of that stuff?
You might need to talk to, you can't get nothing out of the probation file.
No,
You have to get your stuff through the regular discovery portal.
I'll tell you what, I haven't even, nowadays, when you're practicing, and I was a few years ago, we used to get not only the MTRPs, we used to get the underlying reports. I no longer get that in the
Okay.
deal, so.
Okay. Okay, your case is gonna get reset. You're gonna stand over there in front of the court coordinator, she'll give you a reset date. Once you get your reset date, Ms. Sanders, once you get your reset date from your attorney, you'll be free to go. You have a blessed day, and I think this will conclude your case as well.
Yeah.
And you'll be free to go as well, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
All right. It was up here.
No information.
There's no information on him at all. He needs to contact our office first thing Monday morning.
Right.
There's nothing in our Dropbox that says you were appointed. There's just this.
Judge Holmes, I'm here if you're waiting on me. This is Terrence Allison.
Okay, Mark Pearson. No, hold on.
DeAndre Sawyer.
DeAndre Sawyer. Is it Deontay? Okay, how you doing? That's good. This is cause number 328-577. You're here. Your attorney, Mr. Allison, is appearing via Zoom. Mr. Allison, how are you doing?
I'm fine.
Okay. Now, what's your announcement on Deontay Sawyer's case?
Judge, I'm going to ask that the case be reset so I can meet with Deontay Sawyer in my office, which I have not met Deontay Sawyer yet.
Okay.
And I'm hoping I can meet Deontay can come to our office Monday.
Okay. You stand on the extra case. It's going to be reset. Once you get your case reset on the X.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, you're welcome. You'll be free to go. And you have a blessed day as well, Mr. Allison.
Thank you. It'll just be reset.
Clint Como. Okay. Mr. Como, you have two cases. First case is cause number 328-838. The second case is cause number 328-840. How you doing, Mr. Como? That's good, Mr. Como. The last time you was here, you was to hire an attorney. Have you hired your attorney? Okay, so you still want to try to hire one, or you want to see? Last time you was here, we gave you your options in our judge's explanation. As a defendant in a criminal case, you have three options. Number one, you may hire an attorney. Number two, if you did not have enough money to hire an attorney, you may request an attorney be appointed to represent you. Number three, you may represent yourself. If you want an attorney to represent you and have enough money to hire an attorney, the case will be reset to give you time to do so. If you want an attorney and do not have the money to hire one, you will need to fill out a financial questionnaire so that the proper person can determine whether or not to appoint an attorney to represent you. You may not speak to the prosecutor about your case unless you sign a written waiver of your right to be represented by an attorney. Be aware that there are dangers of self-representation. Waiving your right to an attorney and representing yourself may result in a worse outcome for you and your case, including the loss of significant legal rights and opportunities relating to military service, possession of a firearm, housing and public benefits, child custody, immigration status for non-citizens, and employment. If you choose to proceed without an attorney, you may change your mind at any time and may request counsel from the court. At the bottom of this document, it states defendant's choice. Mark initials next to only one choice. If your choice is you want to reset this case to hire your own attorney, you will put your initials on the first line to the left. If you've already hired an attorney, your initials go on the second line to the left and name of the attorney line to the right. If you want to apply for a court-appointed attorney, then you'll put your initials on the third line to the left. If you've already been appointed court-appointed attorney, you put your initials on the fourth line to the left and the name of the attorney line to the right. If you want to waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself, you will put your initials on the fifth line to the left. Do you understand?
Yes.
And once you finish, you initial one of the 5 lines. Then you will sign at the bottom where it says defendant, and you will mark today's date, July 30th of 2021. Okay?
You need a new one?
Yeah, you're gonna need, I think he's gonna make a change.
One of those choices you need to make, put your initials next to one of your choices, sign it, date it.
Okay, you have just have a seat at that table. And you're gonna fill out the questionnaire. Once you finish filling it out, we'll call you back up. John Bernard. Is that somebody here named John Bernard? Oh, that was reset. That was Burbank's case. Mark Mendez. I know he should have a judge's explanation, huh?
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. Your name is Mark Anthony Mendez?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Mendez?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for being patient with us this morning. Mr. Mendez, were you here last time? Were you to hire an attorney?
No. I'm here to request an attorney.
Oh, he didn't have one?
We briefly met on Zoom.
That's my question. Is
His
what?
arraignment was on Zoom, Your Honor.
Oh, that's the gentleman that appeared on Zoom that time. Okay, we arraigned him. Okay, I remember that. Okay, now, Mr. Mendez, what you have before you is judge's explanation of rights to defendants without an attorney. As a defendant in a criminal case, you have 3 options. Number 1, you may hire an attorney. Number 2, if you do not have enough money to hire an attorney, you may request an attorney be appointed to represent you. And number 3, you may represent yourself. If you want an attorney to represent you and have enough money to hire one, the case will be reset to give you time to do so. If you want an attorney and do not have the money to hire one, you would need to fill out a financial questionnaire so that the proper person can determine whether or not to appoint an attorney to represent you. You may not speak to the prosecutor about your case unless you sign a written waiver of your right to be represented by an attorney. Be aware that there are dangers of self-representation. Waiving your right to an attorney and representing yourself may result in the worst outcome for you and your case, including the loss of significant legal rights and opportunities relating to military service, possession of a firearm, housing and public benefits, child custody, immigration status for non-citizens, and employment. If you choose to proceed without an attorney, you may change your mind at any time and may request counsel from the court. The bottom of the document states, defendant's choice, mark initials next to only one choice. If your choice is, I want to reset this case to hire my own attorney, then you will place your initials on the first line to the left. If you already hired an attorney, place your initials on the second line to the left and the name of the attorney on the line to the right. If you want to apply for a court-appointed attorney, then you'll place your initials on the third line to the left. If you've already been appointed court-appointed attorney, you'll put your initials on the line, fourth line to the left and the name of the attorney on the line to the right. If you want to waive your right to an attorney, represent yourself, you put your initials on the fifth line to the left. And after you finish making your choice, then you will sign on the line where it says defendant, and you'll place today's date, July 30th of 2021. Mr. Mendez, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, yeah, Mr. Mendez, he's gonna give you a clipboard with the questionnaire. Have a seat, fill that out, and when you finish, we'll call you back up.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. And thank you for being patient. leave those right there.
Page 2, Kendrick Banks.
Kendrick Banks, okay, he was here to hire. How you doing, Mr. Banks? I'm doing fine, Mr. Banks. This is clause number 326852. Mr. Banks, last time you was here, you was to hire an attorney. Have you hired your attorney? Okay, now I see, you started that process on March 23rd of 2021, is that correct? Okay, how much time do you need?
I just need to get a job. Right now, I'm still going through the test.
You going through what?
I just did physical Wednesday, and right now I'm just going through the other ICT class. I'm just getting a job.
Okay, when do you start the actual working and get paid?
That's what I'm saying.
I know you haven't, but I mean, is there gonna be a process when you're gonna start working and then you're gonna start getting paid? Is that correct?
Yes.
My question is, when do you anticipate getting around your first check?
I guess I think they do like a day and a half. I mean, a week and a half.
I know, but I'm saying is 1 week, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks?
For a lawyer and everything.
No. I'm just saying when you get your check, not when you're gonna get the lawyer.
I should start working. I say I should get my first check like Friday, like next Friday.
Okay, we're gonna give you 45 days. Okay, so that give you enough time to get a couple of checks.
Yeah.
So you can save up the money to hire the lawyer that you want to hire, okay? All right, you're gonna stand on the X in front of the court coordinator. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go. Oh, that's wrong one. Now, who's gonna do this non-disclosure? The DA's office. Are you doing the non-disclosure? There's a non-disclosure I was scheduled at 11 o'clock.
I think Raymond usually does.
Were you calling our case, Your Honor?
Yes, I'm gonna call it, but I was just asking the prosecutor which one of the prosecutors was gonna handle the non-disclosure. The prosecutor that can you contact him?
Yes.
If you yeah.
Ms. Tran, I mean, if we could reset it, Your Honor, that would be acceptable because Ms. Tran is ill, can't make it.
Okay, I'll tell you what, if you want to reset it, just call the office and get back with the court coordinator and give you the reset date. You can just look at your calendar. All right, and thanks for being patient with us.
Okay, great.
Okay, and the number is 409. Okay, I'll give you time to get a pen.
Wait a minute. 409.
Yes, 409.
835. 607.
No, 8607.
8607.
Yeah. 409-835-8607.
Got it.
All right. Thanks for being patient.
Thank you.
All right. You're free to go and you have a blessed day. Okay. Okay, Mr. Clint, I have before me a document, affidavit of agency. Do you recognize this document, Mr. Como? And on page 2 of this document, is that your signature?
Yes, it is.
Now, is everything in this document, did you read everything? Did you understood everything that you read?
Yes,
And is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
that's my knowledge.
Okay,
Real close.
okay. So, Mr. Como,
Yes.
appears you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment. And Okay, your attorney in this case is going to be Miss Marva Provo. You can stand on the X, the 4X. The court coordinator is going to give you information on how to contact your attorney and your court date. And once you get that information, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Right behind, it's right there behind, and I'm gonna call you right back.
Yeah. Here it is. Mark Mendez. This is cause number 329-104. Okay, Mr. Mendez, I'm looking at your that's your mom. Okay. Now I was looking at your this affidavit, and it says that name of dependent children, and you have your mom on here.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, they just asked for children.
Right.
Well, okay. So
Typo on my end.
huh?
It was a typo on my end, Your Honor.
Okay. Now you have one child, right? The 11-year-old, is that Nick?
Yes, sir. That's
Oh, that's a nephew.
That's my nephew.
Yeah, okay, you put a nephew on. Okay, that's not a child. Do you have any children?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, that's all this here asks for. If you had any children that you were required to that you was taking care of. Now I see here you work for Scaffold Brand. I guess it's a scaffold building company.
Yes, sir. I'm a scaffold builder for Brand Safe at Formosa Plastics in Point Comfort.
Where?
At Point Comfort, close to Fort Lavaca, Texas. Good 4 hours away from
Okay.
my hometown.
Okay, near Port Lavaca?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, Point Comfort.
Yes, sir.
Texas. Okay, okay. I never heard of that one. Okay. Now, let's see. I'm just looking at your. You say your take home is about $4,000 a month.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Roughly.
Okay. Looking at your rent,
Mr. Connell?
utility bills a month, no child care expenses. Your food. You single?
Yes, sir.
Now, let me do this. So your transportation costs, is that gas?
Yes, sir.
Do you have to pay a car note?
No, sir.
Do you have to pay car insurance?
I travel 80 miles to and from work every day.
I know, no, but I'm just listening to my question. Do you have to pay car insurance?
I recently just sold my vehicle.
So you don't have a car?
As of right now, no, no, sir.
Do you have to pay someone to transport you anywhere?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, what you need to do on your transportation costs, you could include whatever costs you're paying for somebody to transport you,
Yes, sir.
okay? You got a cell phone, no probation, no, you got medical expenses and credit card, okay. I'll give you a chance to, excuse me, make whatever adjustments you need to make. Just make sure you read read each one of them carefully, okay? And then respond according to what they ask, what the question asks.
Transportation costs. So it's gonna be what you pay someone to get you to and from work. Okay.
What I mentioned earlier, Your Honor, is that I recently got rid of my, sold my vehicle, my truck, this past 2 weeks ago. So I'll pay around that much in gas.
Okay.
Gasoline, 80 miles roughly every day, to and from work.
Okay.
Lived in Victoria. I live in Victoria.
Okay. Now, Mr. Mendez, is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Mr. Mendez, according to what you have on this, on your affidavit, I don't think you qualify for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. But it looks like you have $1,050 left over each month.
Again, those are leftover estimates. I also have other expenses that I pay, such as my mom's medical bills and. I'm the sole provider for my family back home.
I understand, but I was just looking at the questions that we actually have on the affidavit, and we have to go by what they asked for in this affidavit of indigency.
Yes, sir.
And according to this, it appears that you have, they said rent, utilities, childcare expenses, including child support, food expenses, transportation costs, cell phone, probation fees, none, medical expenses, minimum monthly credit card. That's the questions. I mean, that's the questions that they wanted responses regarding those questions. So I'm saying based on that, based on what I see that's left over, you don't qualify for appointment of a court-appointed attorney.
I understand, Your Honor.
Okay. So what I can do, you live in out of town. What I'm gonna reset it 60 days to give you an opportunity to hire an attorney.
Of course.
Okay.
I'm actually going back to school, so those numbers regarding my income will have to be adjusted.
Okay. I mean, if change, we understand that things change, but if that happens, then we'll make those adjustments when it happens. Okay. But right now, as it stands right now, you don't meet the eligibility requirements.
understand.
Okay, so we're gonna reset this case for 60 days, and the 60 days is taking into consideration that you don't live in county, you live in another county. How many hours it took you to get here?
7 hours.
Wow. Okay, so we're gonna reset it 60 days to give you an opportunity to do that. If an attorney is hired, that attorney is gonna contact the court with a letter of representation, and then the case is gonna be reset for the hour. You understand what I'm saying?
Will you be able to attend a hearing?
Zoom? Yeah, right now we're still doing, you can do Zoom and telephone if you don't have access to Zoom or appear in person. So we're still doing that right now.
Okay.
Okay.
I may not be able to attend next year, but can I come via Zoom like I did first time around?
Yes.
I contacted the courthouse and I was told I was able to come.
Right.
They gave me the docket number and everything.
Right. Okay. And
Given
I think
that I live 7 hours away.
right.
Joshua recently got laid off, so those numbers that I gave you were of this previous month.
Okay, so you're saying you're not working now?
Currently, no, I am not working.
Oh. Well, you need to, like I said, the question is, if you don't have any you need to you can make your adjustments. You said you're not working? You laid off?
I'm getting laid off.
You say getting laid off or you are laid off? That's two different things.
This job I'm working at is currently scheduled to end by the end of the month.
Well, you still working then? Okay, right now, these numbers are still good. And so what we'll do, like I said, we'll reset it 60 days to give you an opportunity to hire an attorney. If things change, then we'll have to revisit this, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, stand on the X in front of the court coordinator. She's gonna reset your case. Once you reset your case, you'll be free to go. And you have a safe trip back and you have a blessed day.
Thank you
thanks
for your time, Your Honor.
all right, thank you for being patient. Just stand, she's right here. You'll get it, you're on your way out. You just can't wear it inside the courtroom.
Sign for me right here?
Right there.
Or you reset?
Okay. Okay, let's go to our bond forfeiture. Oh, he get his hat?
Right now I'm working in Open State. Thank you.
Okay, we have. Who is this?
Fernandez on page 1 and Reagan on page 3.
Yeah, I got Reagan. Okay. Oh, I had Fernandez. Okay. Okay. This is cause number 325804. Case of Style of State of Texas versus Jason Dominique Fernandez. Wait up, Fernandez, that's one of Patch's cases, right? That's reset, because, okay. Oh, that's right, he didn't appear, okay. Mr. Jason Fernandez was scheduled to be in court this morning for the court's announcement docket at 9 a.m. His name was called at or about 9 a.m. by the court's bailiff at the courthouse door. He did not answer when his name was called. The time now is 12:58. PM on today's date of July 30th of 2021. Mr. Bailiff, would you please call the name of Jason Fernandez?
No response, Your Honor.
Jason Fernandez's name was just called at the courthouse door by the court's bailiff. Mr. Fernandez did not answer. A reasonable time has passed to give Mr. Fernandez an opportunity to appear in court for the court's announcement docket. State, do you have a motion?
The state would move for a bond forfeiture at this time, Your Honor.
That motion will be granted. Mr. Fernandez's bond will be forfeited in cause number 325804, and a warrant shall be issued for his arrest. We're in session in cause number 328532. The case is styled the State of Texas versus Antonio Luis Reagan. Mr. Antonio Luis Reagan was scheduled to be in court this morning for 9 a.m. for the court's announcement docket. His name was called at or about 9 a.m. by the court's bailiff. He did not answer when the bailiff called his name at the courthouse door. The time now is 1 p.m. on today's date. Mr. Bailiff, would you please call the name of Antonio Reagan? Antonio Reagan's name was just called at the courthouse door by the court's bailiff. Mr. Reagan did not answer. A reasonable time has passed to give Mr. Reagan an opportunity to appear in court. He did not appear in court after his name was called by the court's bailiff at the courthouse door. Therefore, a reasonable time has passed to give Mr. Reagan an opportunity to appear in court. Madam Prosecutor, state, do you have a motion?
Your Honor, the state will move for bond forfeiture.
That motion will be granted. Antonio Reagan bond will be forfeited in cause number 328532, and a warrant shall be issued for his arrest. This will conclude the calling of the announcement docket that was scheduled at 9 a.m. on today's date at July 30th of 2021 in County Court of Law number 2, Jefferson County, Texas. Judge Terrence